Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are cracking open Bradley R. Stott's fantastic book, Never Stop Learning. What we're going to do is distill its absolute core ideas into a powerful framework for not just surviving, but actually thriving in a world that, let's face it, never ever stops changing.
Okay, so let's dive right in. To really get this, we first have to understand just how much the ground has shifted under our feet. The entire idea of a career, it's been completely turned on its head.
Think about your grandparents' generation. For a lot of them, the path was pretty clear. You get a job at one company, in one industry, and you stay there for life. That was the definition of stability. Now, let's look at our reality. The average worker today is expected to hold, get this, 12 different jobs. 12! That old idea of a single, stable career, for most of us, that's basically a museum piece now.
And the data? Well, the data tells us exactly why this is happening. The jobs that are disappearing or just flatlining are the routine ones, the predictable, repetitive tasks that, frankly, can be automated. But look at where the growth is. It's in the non-routine jobs, the ones that demand that we adapt, that we innovate, that we solve problems no one's seen before. In this new economy, change is the only constant, which means the most valuable skill you can have is the ability to learn.
Okay, so if learning is the new key to survival, what's stopping us? Well, a stats points out, and this is so important, the biggest barriers are often in our own minds. Let's break down the two biggest mental hurdles we all face.
We all say we learn from our mistakes. I mean, it's the classic interview answer, right? But when it actually happens, in the moment, it feels awful. It's incredibly difficult, and it turns out there's a very real, very scientific reason for that.
It actually boils down to a fundamental fear, atychiphobia. When we fail, our bodies don't see a learning opportunity. No, they see a threat. Your adrenal gland starts pumping out cortisol, and that triggers a high-stress fight-or-flight response. So your brain isn't thinking about nuanced takeaways, it's just thinking about survival. And that makes calm, rational reflection pretty much impossible.
So how in the world do you fight your own biology? You do it by building a culture that destigmatizes failure. Take this story from Pal's Sudden Service. The CEO, Tom Crosby, he went against his team's advice and launched a new line of salads. It was a complete and total flop, costing the company almost $500,000. Ouch. But instead of burying it, Crosby stood up and said, "Hey, this one was on me." He publicly owned it, signaling to his entire team that trying something new and failing wasn't a career ender, it was just part of the game.
And this brings us to such a fundamental shift in how we have to think. We have to reframe failure. It's not some evil thing to be avoided at all costs. As Ed Catmull from Pixar puts it, it's just the inevitable and honestly valuable result of trying to create something new. It isn't a sign of defeat, it's a source of data.
Now, the second big mental shift is moving our focus away from the outcome and onto the process. See, an outcome focus just asks, did I win or lose? The problem is, you can win for all the wrong reasons, pure luck, and you learn absolutely nothing. But a process focus asks a better question. Did I follow the right steps? That approach lets you learn and get better no matter what the final score is.
If you want to see a master of this in action, look at Dr. Robert Booth. He became one of the world's best knee surgeons by obsessing over every single detail of the surgical process. He analyzed the tool sets. He streamlined how the staff coordinated. He even brought the sterilization crew into the operating room to help them see just how critical their role was. He understood that a great outcome wasn't one single event. It's the result of 1,000 small steps done perfectly.
Okay, so now that we've got the mindset right, let's get practical. How do you actually put this stuff into action? How do you structure your learning so you become indispensable?
The first strategy starts with a single letter. We need to become what Stotts calls T-shaped professionals. It's a concept that companies like the gaming giant Valve are famous for championing.
So, picture the letter T. The vertical bar? That's your deep, specialized expertise. It's the thing you're the go-to person for. But that horizontal bar is just as crucial. It represents a broad curiosity and a working knowledge across a bunch of different fields. Real innovation, the game-changing stuff, happens right at that intersection, where all those different ideas can collide.
And this is just so critical, because having deep specialization alone, well, it can actually become a trap. Like the philosopher Émile Chartier said, nothing is more dangerous than an idea when it's the only one you have, right? If all you have is a hammer, every single problem starts to look like a nail, and you totally miss the better solution sitting right there.
All right, the second core practice is a big one.
We have to stop treating learning like it's a solo mission. Dynamic learners get that we learn best when we learn together, drawing on the collective intelligence and experience of a team.
And look, this isn't just some feel-good idea. The impact on actual performance is huge. State's own research on software projects at Wipro found something incredible. Teams that had simply worked together before, just that shared experience, saw a stunning 19% reduction in defects. That familiarity literally made them better, faster, and more effective.
So why does this happen? It's because these familiar teams develop something called a transactive memory system. Okay, that sounds fancy, but you can think of it like a collective brain for the team. Everyone intuitively knows who the expert is on any given topic, who to go to for a certain piece of info, and how to talk to each other without wasting time. They don't have to figure out who knows what, they just know.
So, after all this, what's the ultimate takeaway? How do we pull all of these ideas together into a simple, powerful checklist you can actually use?
In the end, becoming a dynamic learner isn't some mystical talent you're born with. It's really a set of 4 powerful habits. Number 1, reframe failure. See it as data, not defeat. Number 2, focus on the process, not just the prize. 3, become T-shaped by blending that deep expertise with broad curiosity. And 4, learn with others. Build that collective brain.
Look, this isn't just about surviving in your career. It's about thriving in a world that demands we constantly grow. It's a true superpower. So I'll leave you with this one final thought, a question to kickstart your own journey. What is the one thing you'll commit to learning next?